I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and the compassion and mercy of grand predecessor, predecessor, transmitters, lecturers, temple masters, and everybody else to give me this opportunity to talk about today's topic, which is chapter 27 of the Tao Te Ching, or Classic of the Variant Virtue. Okay, so here's the overview. Okay, the chapter title is literally, it means, well, it means to follow brightness, but follow enlightenment. It's the path, follow path of enlightenment, or our Buddha nature essence. Okay, we'll get into this definition in the middle of the chapter. All right, so this chapter is moderately long. It's in the top 25, but anyway, top 20, 25 longest chapters. There are 3 sections. Okay, so there's the first 4 phrases. This is the first section. That's basically Lao Tzu's thesis or proposition. And then comes the analysis in the second section, okay? And that's where the title is, okay? Comes from, and then the conclusion section, okay? All right, so, okay, so that's that. All right, so now let's go to the outline, okay? All right. So first phrase, good traveling does not leave tracks. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this first word, it's used, it has a lot of broad meanings, okay? So in Chinese, it's, generically, it's good. It means it's good. You know, you can say kind, benevolent, okay? But it also can mean virtuous, skillful, or to be good at something, okay? Or to be perfect, okay? All right, it could be a verb, that sort of thing. But in this case, it's just an adjective, okay? San, it's pronounced san, okay? Now, the second word, it's xing. It's a verb. It means to go, travel, walk, to do, perform, okay? But it also could be a noun. It could be behavior or conduct, okay? All right, so, okay, so let's look at the last 2 words, okay? All right. Sorry, the last 2 words, yeah, okay? All right, so it's pronounced 侧记, okay? 侧, the 4th word, it's the wheel tracks, okay? Wagon, trail tracks, okay? All right, okay, that's the noun, but then the verb means to remove, to withdraw, to leave something, to okay, yeah, you can say withdraw, but ji, it's a footprint, it's just a trace or mark, okay, vestige, you know, remainder, okay, so leave tracks, okay. So the basic meaning or basic interpretation of this phrase is that, okay, we say good traveling, okay, that's what the xing means. But it refers to not a personal, you know, riding on a wagon track, you know, riding in a cart, you know, leaving behind wagon tracks, okay? That's too literal, okay? So the good traveling implies or refers to the journey of life. The Tao cultivators as skillful travelers, for example. Okay, that is. All right. Okay. All right. So the additional understanding is that the Tao is a skill that one can learn. Okay, one can learn about it and one can practice it. Okay, and hone
that skills to, display the Tao virtues, etc. Okay, so the more one practices, the better one gets. Now, there's a deeper meaning to the first two words, or good traveling. It's that not only can Tao be learned, but it has to be practiced in order to be skillful. Okay, well, that's another understanding. Okay, and then this further understanding is, well, what are considered skillful travelers? Okay, in this case, all right. So here are some of the, you can say, qualities or traits. Okay, which then we allow to will go into a little bit more detail in the second section. Okay, all right, all right. So some of those are this, right? If you are a skillful traveler, or Tao cultivator or Tao practitioner, you you would use a gentle or soft, light, soft, which is considerate and thoughtful touch, rather than a heavy-handed or inconsiderate or rash approach. Okay. Another is to accomplish the most with the least effort. Okay, which is the gentle and soft touch. Something little that makes a big difference. Example would be gentle words, gentle encouragement that causes someone to gain all the motivation they need to do something great. Right? So that's a skill, right? Skillful approach. Okay. So they also another example of what a good traveler or traveling is, they don't attempt to draw attention to themselves. They don't advertise what they're doing. They just do the right thing. There's no ego involved. Okay. And lastly, but not least, there's another trait, which is they don't attempt to interfere with us, to impede others. Okay. All right. Now, so that's the more basic and the deep, not deeper, a little different layers. Okay, of understanding of what a good traveling or good travelers are. Okay, but there's a deeper, an understanding. It just means to do good deeds or establish virtuous merits. Okay, so that's what I mean. Okay, so that's the first two words. Okay, now what's the second half? Okay, there's a deeper meaning of 测己, which means to self-display or flaunt or show off, being ostentatious, showy, okay? All right, so therefore, the phrase is does not, right? There's a wu, that's a negative, negation, not. So does not what? So a skillful traveler or Tao cultivator is able to make progress in a way that is seamless. It flows continuously, okay? Gentle and often unnoticed, okay? This is done simply from not having to display oneself in an egocentric way. So good things can be accomplished without necessarily drawing attention. So there is this mindset of humility, okay, that's involved. They're skillful, they know how to do things, but they don't show off, they don't flaunt it. And even when they accomplish it, they're still very humble. Okay? Okay. And there's another understanding of that is to perform good deeds without anyone knowing. Okay? So that's what a good traveler or skillful traveler does not leave tracks mean. And, whether you be a good Samaritan or, just a person who did something good, something that benefited somebody else, but you don't what? Proclaim, self-proclaim, or flaunt it, right? Or advertise it, okay? All right, so that's what is, okay? Deeper understanding. To perform good deeds without anyone's notice, that's even better, okay? That's even, the higher level, okay? So the higher understanding, and here's where we go, okay? When establishing virtuous merits, it's just like a thief. Recall what Jesus said? This is in Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 3 and 4. Now he was talking about doing charity or giving alms. Okay, so I mean that's this is more specific, but you can generalize from there too. So Jesus said, when giving alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your alms may be in secret. And then it continues in verse 4 and 5, which says, because our Lord in heaven, God in heaven, knows, can see everything and knows who did, who did the good deed, or in this case, giving alms, and God will record it accordingly, and reward them accordingly. So, in the human realm, you don't need to advertise it. Okay, so that's now this is specific about talking alms, but you can expand it, extrapolate, and generalize to say basically what Jesus meant was when you doing anything good, you know, literally you don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, vice versa. Just means that you don't broadcast it, right? You don't advertise it. You don't, say to everybody, look what I did, right? Stuff like that. So, okay, so this is very similar, okay, parallel to what this first phrase means, okay? So the implications are that good deeds are virtuous when it is done without anyone's knowledge or notice, and will not create karma. Okay, now we tend to think of karma as negative, right? But actually, karma embodies positive and negative. So karmic rewards that's positive, and karmic retribution, that's negative, right? So in this case, if you did something good, yeah, you're gonna get karmic rewards. Now, when you do something good and it becomes a karmic reward, it's because there's a cause, right? There's a reason. That's why there's karma. Okay, in this case, it's a reward because you did something good. It's because you did it with a mindset saying that, oh, I'm doing it because I'm going to get a reward, or I'll get recognized, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what this means, okay? So when good going to do it, or, oh, I'll get recognized, I'll get a reward, blah, 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 all that. So if one does a good deed without any of those notions, then that's called virtuous, and it will not lead to karmic reward. And why is this important? Well, if you do a good deed with, let's say, a notion or whatever, attachment, whatever, then it will create a karmic reward. That means karma has a say in your future destiny. Maybe not this lifetime. It could be future lives. So that means you are subject to karma still. The whole idea is to transcend beyond karma, right? That's the whole idea. Okay. So now, okay. So this is similar to what Buddha taught. At the very basic. This is part of his. I think this is the Agama. Okay, Agama teaching, which is the precepts, if you will. Okay, so we compare to the actions, behaviors, and conducts of the body, okay, as part of the three conditions of karma, sanye, okay. So the karma, it's called three conditions. Sometimes they call it three causes, but three conditions or karmic causes is because karma is created in three ways, okay, either through the body, through your mouth, or through the mind. Okay, so in this case, since you're doing action, it's part of the body. Okay, and so so that's part of the three conditions of karma. And then in the three conditions of karma, they have the three corresponding immoral deeds. Okay, 三恶行, which is killing, stealing, and lust. That's related to the body, right? of the 10 evil deeds and their counterparts in the 10 good measures, which is the opposite, which is not to kill, not to steal, not to have lust. Okay, so that's okay. So in this case, this is called, what Lao Tzu said here in this first phrase, talking about actions. It's comparable to what in Buddha's taught about the 3 conditions of karma. It's related to one third of it, one of the 3, which has to do with the body. Okay. All right. So the key point this phrase is to perform good deeds without any trace, so that no one knows about or notices them. Okay. So that's what good traveling leaves no tracks mean. Okay. Second phrase. Now he's talking about speech. Okay. So good speech does not seek fault. Okay. 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 狭者. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what happened. Okay. 狭者. Okay. The last 2 words means fault, error, flaw, defect. Okay. So the basic meaning of the first phrase is good words do not find fault with others. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Another understanding is, if there's nothing good to say, you should say words. Instead, you say words that will benefit others. Okay. Or additional understanding is do not scold or criticize or find fault with others. No abusive language. Rather than to focus on the negative, focus on the positive in everything and everyone. Okay, so that makes. Okay, further understanding. Good speech has no gossip or rumors or double talk, right? Good speech has no bragging, self-praise, or self-boasting, okay? Good speech does not complain about others or things and will not create karma, okay? So the implication is this. Good speech are those that benefit others. So to take a note is to compare to the words of the mouth as part of the 3 conditions of karma, once again, and the corresponding 4 improper speeches, right? Lying, abusive, malicious language, idle talk or flattery, double talk or divisive language, which is part of the 10 evil deeds. And then the counterpart in the 10 good measures, do not lie, do not use abusive language, do not flatter or gossip, and no double talk or divisive language. Okay? So this is, you can say, parallel or comparable to what Buddha talked about as part of the 10, we call it the 10 evil. Well, it's the 4 improper speeches, part of the 10 evil deeds. In this case, it refers to the mouth. Okay, the mouth piece. The previous phrase we talked about the body aspect. This is now the mouth. So Lao Tzu said something similar. Of course, Lao Tzu did not use the negative, right? The 4 improper speech. He just said that, more general, right? He says, good speech, words, do not, seek fault. That's all. Okay, so very broad, very generic. Whereas in the 10 evil, or the 4 improper words, it's more specific, but it's parallel. Okay, so the key point is this: good words are those that is from a very good perspective, a very ideal is better said, a point of view where people will accept them. That's called skillful speech. Okay, so that's the whole idea. So when we speak, not only do we don't find fault or criticize or, God forbid, the 4 improper speeches, but we should also speak from a very ideal perspective or point of view where people will readily accept that. Okay, that's called skillful speech. Okay, so that's what Lao Tzu implied in this second phrase. Now, third phrase. Good reckoning does not use counters. Okay, what's ji? Ji means to. Okay, it just means to plan, to strategize. It can also means to calculate. Okay, All right. Let's see. The last two words is 臭测, right? 臭测. Yeah. It just it's an ancient phrase to mean a calculating apparatus, like an abacus, for example. Okay, it's an ancient calculator. Okay, but in this case, he's not talking about using an ancient calculator, but to make plans, to strategize, to calculate, to make contingencies. Okay, so the basic meaning, it just means good reckoning does not keep score of things. Okay, so that's to count, right? So another understanding is usually in order to successfully complete something, there needs some planning. But a very good reckoning does not require the calculation of our brains. Okay, so, all right, but usually, right, in the, you can say, a conventional wisdom, right? If we want to achieve something, right, we have to do some planning, right? But, okay, but this is not talking about that. All right, it's just another understanding is to keep track of things, keeping score mentally, conditioned, or having motivations. Okay, that's another way of understanding what does not use counters mean. Okay, further understanding to go further is that keeping score of or track of things will create karma. So that's why you don't want to keep track, right? Just like what Jesus said about you did a good deed, you don't need to have to keep score, right? Okay, because heaven, God will do it for you. Okay, karma will do it for you. Okay, all right. Okay, deeper understanding is this: Tao cultivators do not keep score. Karma will. They'll do it for everybody. Okay, all right. So the higher understanding is. Here it is. The best reckoning requires the manifestation of our divine marvelous wisdom, or Mahaprajna, which will not create karma. Okay? All right? Because it comes from our Buddha nature. It comes from something that is non-conditioned. That's the important thing. Anything that's conditioned will create karma. Okay? Anything that's conditional, that's dependent on something, will create karma. Whereas our divine wisdom is not conditioned, right? It's not based on our knowledge, experience, perception, all that. It's independent, right? Why? Because it comes straight from our Buddha nature. Okay? All right. Okay, so the implication is the divine marvelous wisdom is the way to arrive at the best reckoning that needs no strategies. Okay, that's why if you want to achieve something, yes, the conventional wisdom, or people who, we don't use our Buddha nature wisdom, you have to strategize, make conditions, contingencies, etc., etc. But if we use our Buddha nature wisdom, then it comes straight out, and from our Buddha nature, without needing to strategize, plan, etc., etc. Okay, all right. Now, this is sort of parallel if you compare to the thoughts of the mind as part of the three conditions of karma. Once again, and the corresponding three poisons of the mind, right? Greed, anger, or rage, and ignorance, which is part of the 10 evil deeds and their counterparts, and the 10 good women, which is, not to have greed, not to have anger, and no ignorance, or to get rid of ignorance. Okay, so this now has to do with the mind. Okay, so Lao Tzu talked about the body, right? Good traveling, or good action, good deeds. Then the good words, which is the mouth, and then good reckoning, which is the mind. Okay, all right. So that's parallel to what the three conditions of karma, the sanye, that Buddha talked about. Right? Okay. Right. So the key point of this third phrase is, without a need to calculate or plan, all could be successfully accomplished. This is the manifestation of a rather high wisdom, high level wisdom, which is our Maha Prajna, okay? Or divine, marvelous wisdom, okay? Okay. Okay, let's go to the fourth phrase. Still in section 1, he's saying, it's always good, right? So it's not using the word san, okay? It's good, okay? So good closure needs no bar and yet cannot be opened. Okay. That's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of obvious. I don't know. Okay. All right. The second word, bi, means to close, okay? To block up, to shut down, etc., etc. Okay? All right. Stop. Okay. These two words, okay? In this case, it's translated as bar. Okay, what it means is it's an ancient usage, okay? 关键. It's a door bar, okay, or door bolt. In the old days, you know, or ancient times, okay, like, you know, 2,000-3,000 years ago, they don't have key, okay? We don't have a lock as what we know of today. So they use a horizontal bar that they put across the door so that you can't open the door from the outside. Okay, so that's what it literally means. Okay, okay. So we call it door bolt. It could mean hinge too, or key. Okay, it could also mean something that's critical, crucial, decisive, or pivotal. But in this case, it's a wooden bar that prevents the door from being opened, like a modern door bolt. Okay, like a deadbolt, right? Okay. This mirror means to open. Okay. Basic meaning. Let's go over here. Okay. So basic meaning is this: Tao cultivators create positive, healthy relationships, so people naturally choose to stick around of their own free will. So an open door is a metaphor for entering and exiting. That is, relationships between people. So we can, extrapolate from what that means. Okay. All right. Why a door would be open, open and close. Okay. All right. So another understanding is very basic. Okay. It's as if they are locked in, that is, the people are locked in, but the door is not locked by the wooden bar or any other device. Everyone wants to belong to a good, happy team, family, workplace, etc. Okay, this deals with the external or the spatial aspect dimension. It just means that, we've all experienced this in life, right? Like whether we're in school or in an athletic team or in a work environment, where sometimes, people get along because they all have either the same motivations or same ideals, or just everything seems very harmonious, that they work well as a team, whether in sports, in school, or in the workplace, that nobody wants to leave, right? Everybody wants to stay within the team, right? Nobody wants to break it up, right? Because everything works so well. Okay, so that it's like that. Okay, so further understanding is, since everyone wants to belong with a good, happy, and harmonious team or workplace, family, etc., no one wants to leave. So it's like they are locked in, but yet without a door bolt that cannot be opened, right? I mean, this is metaphorical, of course, right? Okay, so it just means that in daily life, whether as part of a family, as part of work, a team, school, etc., okay, if people that find affinity with each other, okay, and that they get along well. They don't want to leave, right? They don't want to break up the team. And yet there's nothing preventing them from leaving, from departing, but yet they still don't want to. So that's what metaphorically this at the very basic level, of course, this is what it means, okay? Basic, okay? I mean, there are different layers, okay, to basic, but this is part of it, okay? But then there's a deeper meaning, okay? What the B is, it's our 6 roots. The B means to close, right? So what Lao Tzu is saying is, what's a good closure is to what? Close down our 6 roots and the 3 poisons of the mind, which is, greed, rage, ignorance, the 4 improper speeches of the mouth, okay, and the 3 immoral deeds. So what Lao Tzu is saying, remember he talked about those 3 parts already, right? The body, mouth, and mind, right? Those 3, you can say, aspects of 3 conditions of karma. Talked about those 3 already. And in this 4th phrase, he's just summarizing it together or combining it together to explain why we have to control it or shut it down, okay? That's what it means, okay? So another understanding is of good closures, we need to shut down the greedy, angry, and ignorant mind, the 4 improper speeches, and the 3 warnings. That's it, okay? We have to control ourselves, not do the 10 evil deeds, basically, okay? All right. Deeper understanding is good kosher means not to let the 3 poisons appear, not to say the 4 improper speeches, and not to do the 3 immoral deeds. Okay, that's what it is. All right. Higher understanding, all the negative behaviors or actions, conducts, the negative words, all the negative things or thoughts that are completely gone is called good closure. Okay, so that's what Lao Tzu was saying with this. Okay, with this 4th phrase. Okay, so the deeper meaning is, remember this phrase, door bolt, okay, or bar, wooden bar, okay? So he's saying no wooden bar. So what is no wooden bar? There's no place or location. There's nowhere, okay? So what there's no wooden bar that cannot be opened is if there's a thing or place that it can be opened, if there is a thing or place, then it can be opened. But if there's no place or thing, then it cannot be opened. Okay? Right? So that's what that no wooden bar is. It means that there's no place or nothing. So if there's nothing, then how can it be open, right? Okay. So the implication is to want to unlock those bad things. Okay, we have, bad things. One cannot unlock them because one cannot find a thing or place to unlock. All right. So remember, good closure, right? The first half of the statement. Good closure means you basically shut down or got rid of all those 10 evil deeds or bad things. So if that's the case, there's nothing to unlock because they don't exist or they're not there, right? So that makes sense, okay? So therefore, there's no wooden bar, okay, to unlock, all right? So the key point is there is nothing within our Buddha nature because the Buddha nature is formless. By having the Buddha nature manifest its brightness, there is nothing negative. So without anything negative, that's a already good closure. Okay? Right? Makes sense, right? So the key is, you have to rely or, depend, have the Buddha nature being controlled. Once it is, there will be no, evil, 10 evil deeds. That's what good closure, no bad things, right? And when the Buddha nature manifests or displays its brightness, which is wisdom, you can say wisdom and virtues. We'll go into the detail in chapter 28 about the virtues, okay, of the Buddha nature, okay. But this is chapter 27, 28 are related, are linked. I'm gonna say related. They're linked. Yeah, they're related in some respect, but they're linked, okay. But this is the first half, okay. So there's nothing negative because the Buddha nature is remember, it's non-dualistic. So there's no such thing as negative, something negative. We say it's good because we're looking at it from human perspective, from the dualistic perspective, right? But actually from the Buddha nature perspective, it just is. Remember chapter 25, right? It's natural, it's nature, it's Buddha nature, what? Reflects itself. It just is itself. Not positive or negative. It just is. Okay, same idea. All right? So there's nothing negative. And that means what? That's good closure. Okay? All right. Last phrase of section 1. Now, first he talked about closure, about a door, using a door as a metaphor. Now he's using a knot. So good knot needs no rope and yet cannot be untied. Okay, yeah. So if you understand this previous phrase about the door without a lock, okay, yeah, door without a lock. Okay, it's like saying, that cannot be unlocked, right, without a door or wood bar. Okay, so similar idea. Okay, so but he's using a rope in this case, and there's a reason, okay? Because the previous, he's using a door to define a space. So this is, it's not external, but it deals with more or less the external surroundings. Okay, all right. So that's why he uses a door. Now in this case, he's using a rope, which is what? Talking about the internal aspect. Okay, all right. So this phrase means rope, or it's a restraining cord of rope. Last word means to loosen, to undo, to untie. All right. Okay, it can mean to liberate, to emancipate us. The basic meaning of this phrase is metaphor for human relationships between people. See, so this is more abstract, okay? It's not as tangible, just talking about relationships, for how people make connections with each other. So the knot is a metaphor for the connection we make with one another. It's just a connection, okay? It's that invisible tie, right? Invisible tie, okay? That attaches to each other, or that connects one to each other, okay? So another understanding is a good knot is an emotional tie that binds. The connection persists even if we are out of connection for a while, because we remain tied by this invisible rope. This bond is very strong, okay, even though it's invisible. It's invisible. We know that we will reconnect sooner or later, regardless of how far apart or however long it takes. So it deals with the temporal, in this case, the temporal sense, right? This phrase that we have this bond that it's unbreakable. You could say it cannot be untied, no matter how far apart, or how long apart we've been, or how long we've been separated, etc., etc. Okay, all right. So that's the basic meaning. Different level. Okay, here's a deeper meaning. Okay. What is the good knot? Okay, on a more narrow, specific aspect is we need to bind ourselves with our Buddha nature. To, you could say be at one, to be in our Buddha nature, okay? To bond with it, okay? On a general, not broader, you can say it's the invisible and intangible golden link between us and the Tao. That's what connects us to this this grand thing called Tao. Okay, all right, the cosmic Tao. Okay, and we are the link. Okay, there's an invisible link. Okay, okay. So the deeper understanding is this: to bind ourselves with our Buddha nature without any restraints, unconditionally, spontaneously, and naturally, without any restraining ropes. Okay, so that's what the good not means. Okay, so the higher understanding is to acquire, to acknowledge and return to our Buddha nature. Okay, so it's similar. It's not the same, but it's very close. Similar to this phrase in chapter 1 or book 1. Yeah, chapter 1 of the Analects on learning. It says, "Is it not delightful to have friends coming from distant quarters?" What does that mean? Friends coming from distant quarters, right? That, at the superficial or the basic meaning, it's that bond, right? That relationship between one another. In this case, is friends, an emotional tie. But so Confucius talked about it, right, in the Analects. But what he meant, or what is the meaning, is similar. It's that the friend that we're talking that he's talking about, that he talked about in the Analects, has to do with our Buddha nature. That after as we become older and maybe wiser, or we become more quote unquote enlightened, we realized, we rediscovered, we have a friend in us. Okay, that is our Buddha nature, that we didn't realize that he's been with us for a long time. I just haven't met him or realized my friend, the Buddha nature, for such a long time. Okay, so similar idea. Okay, all right. Okay, so the implication. All right. Anything that is tied with a rope can be untied, right? Okay. While any knot that is tied with a formless rope cannot be untied. So our bond with our Buddha nature between us and Tao cannot be broken. Why is that? Because if we're not bond, or we're not together with our Buddha nature, well, guess what? You'll be dead. Okay, we won't exist. Maybe that's another way of saying, all right? Because Buddha nature is the essence, remember, and our physical body is the function or manifestation of that essence. So without the essence, our body would not exist. Okay, so similarly with the Tao. Okay, all right, that's the connection between us and the Tao. Okay, all right. So the key point: the best knot is where we are bound or at one, bound at one with our Buddha nature, which is formless and thus cannot be untied. Okay. So, okay. So that finishes section 1. Now we're going to go to section 2, the analysis, and we're going to detail of what he meant by those, good traveling, good words, right, and good reckoning. Okay. So, therefore, sages are often good at saving others, and so do not abandon anyone. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Basic meaning: to save people. Okay. So saving others. Okay. It literally means to aid or save people. But in this case, it means to provide guidance, to help people stay on the right path, which is the best gift that one can receive on their journey of life. Okay, so saving. Okay, it doesn't literally mean to save somebody from disaster or day. I mean, it could mean that, but that's more specific. This is more general. Okay, it just means sages provide guidance. They guide us, okay, to stay on the path. All right? Okay, so the basic meaning of the line is that sages always help others and do not abandon people regardless of their present situation. So this has to deal with the external environment. Okay? So another understanding is combine this line, this phrase in section 2 with the previous 5 lines in section 1. That's how sages help others. They start by what? Building a strong relationship and not that cannot be untied. Yeah, right? Okay, same idea. Okay. Additional understanding is sages are, because they're always benevolent, right? They constantly help others. No matter how bad people are, sages will still not abandon them. Sages will think of ways to help them. Okay? All right? Okay. Okay. There's a deeper meaning of sage. Okay. That's the dictionary meaning or the superficial meaning. The deeper meaning of sage is basically our Buddha nature essence. Okay. So that's internal. Okay. So one's external, one's internal. Okay. Okay. So the deeper meaning of to save people. Remember we talked about saving people means to what? The external or the basic one, it just means to guide people, right? To provide assistance, right? Guidance to people. The deeper meaning is internal, okay? It's internal. It's to transform our 3 poisons or the mind of the 3 poisons, okay? All right. And then the deeper understanding of to what? Not to abandon people. Okay, on a personal level, it's to self-reflect and correct our mistakes. And what is that? Why is that? Because the people in this case, just like remember the previous, the deeper definition of saving people. This people, it's not the external people, the people outside that you can see, but rather the people within our minds, which is those, greed, the mind of greed, rage, ignorance, etc., etc. Okay, so the deeper meaning of not to abandon them is to self-reflect and correct our mistakes within our minds. Okay, in the general level, broader, you can say, is not to abandon our true nature, our Buddha nature. Okay, higher understanding. Sages are always excellent because they have transformed their minds and engage in self-reflection and conform to their true nature. So that's the internal aspect. Whereas the other side, the basic meaning is the external. Okay? All right? All right. So the implication is sages are constantly good, good. Okay? They're constantly good, often good, because they have transformed their minds and act according to their Buddha nature. So that's the external side, right? So the key, and this is the internal, is sages are always virtuous because they have transformed their own minds and engage in self-introspection and are in accordance with their Buddha nature. So that's the internal, okay? So, internal understand definition, okay, or meaning, okay? Next, second phrase. Okay, so this first phrase is talking about saving people or saving others and not abandoning anyone. Now, this case, he's talking about objects or things. Okay, this is called good at saving things, and so do not abandon anything. Okay, all right. Okay, this is called. Okay. No, this is wrong. This is wrong. Sorry. I don't know why. Okay. Okay. This is wrong. This is wrong. Sorry. I don't know why. I think I copied it wrong. They are often. Okay. They're often good at saving things. Okay. Okay. I don't know what happened here. Okay. They're often good at saving things. Okay. and so do not abandon anything. Okay, so this word, wu, okay, it just means it's a thing. Okay, it's an object. Okay, substance. Okay, so basic meaning is sages take nothing for granted and does not let things go to waste because all things are from heaven and earth. So this is external. Okay, okay, okay. This is external. All right. So another understanding, further understanding. Sages have a very thrifty and frugal mindset. All things are not wasted or discarded. Okay, all right, okay. Another, here's where okay. Sages strike the right balance with things as they do with people. Neither abandon nor impose on people, neither waste nor hoard things. Okay, all right, okay. So that's very superficial meaning, okay, the basic. But there's a deeper meaning of what saving or good at saving things. It's this, okay? It's having all the good thoughts, words, and action. Remember the first 3 lines of this chapter in section 1, right? Good traveling, good words, and good reckoning. So that's what it means, as saving things. That they kept or have all those good, what? Reckoning, good words, and good traveling or actions. Okay? So the deeper meaning of not to abandon things, right, or anything, it's what? Not to abandon those good thoughts, words, and actions. To manifest the benevolent thoughts, words, and actions without abiding in them, right? Because if you abide in these good thoughts, words, and actions, even though they're good, you create karma, right? The key is you don't abide in them. So therefore, no karma, right, is created. Okay? And even though it's good karma, okay? All right. So the higher understanding. Sages are always excellent because of their benevolent thoughts, words, and action. You know, those first 3 lines in section 1, because they have those things. So that's an internal aspect. The external implications. Sages are constantly good because they display and manifest those good thoughts, words, actions, etc. Okay? So key point. Sages are always virtuous because of their benevolent thoughts, words, and actions, and they are able to put them in practice without abiding in them, thus not creating karma. Okay? All right, so that's oh, okay. We got one more. So he wrapped up, right, by taking in the conclusion these, 2 phrases, okay? Right, okay, 2 phrases. Now comes to the last phrase of this analysis. So if he could do these, right, like sages, like good at saving people and good at saving things, okay, it's called following enlightenment. And that's the title of the chapter. Okay, okay, okay. She means, okay, here it is. It's an ancient use, okay, in, okay, well, let's modern. If you look it up in dictionary, all right, if you literally look up this word in the dictionary, modern dictionary, it means this: surprise attack, raid, or not to embody or embrace. Now, some translations use that, okay, to embody enlightenment or embrace. Actually, in the ancient use, it's to carry on as before, to follow, to conform, to follow a pattern, to inherit something. Okay, so it means to conform, to follow. All right. Okay. Now, mean is, it means, okay, it could be a noun, clarity. It could be an adjective, or it can be a verb. So in this case, it's a noun, and we imply it's enlightenment. Okay, clear, perfectly clear. Okay, so the basic meaning of this phrase is it's called following spiritual clarity or enlightenment. Okay, so if you could do what this, right, these previous lines and in section 1, okay, all right, so that's called following or spiritual. So another understanding is being able to see reality as it is. Okay? Or further understanding is this. It's to follow in the footsteps of enlightened individuals who have set great examples in the past. The ancient masters that Lao Tzu often refers to, right? I forgot chapter. Oh, I think chapter. I want to say 18 or 19, maybe. I forgot. One of those chapters talked about the ancient masters, right? Who have, follow the Tao. And so Lao Tzu is reminding us to try to follow those ancient sages who already have set the example for us to follow. Now, we're talking about Lao Tzu, which is 2,500 years ago. And then he was referring to, ages, the ancient Tao masters who preceded him for 1,000 or 2,000 years ago. Okay? All right. The deeper meaning of mean, okay, which means clarity or bright, okay, there's two parts. The general one is the path or way of enlightenment. So that's what the general means. The broad, specific, the narrower is the Buddha nature essence. Okay, so either way, you don't go wrong. One's narrow, one has to deal with the individual, the other one is more broad, okay, for everybody, the path. Okay, so the higher understanding is to transform one's mind, to self-introspect, have benevolent thoughts, words, and actions, and manifesting them is to follow the enlightened path, to conform to or be in accordance with the Buddha natures. Okay, that's what we call following enlightenment means. Okay. So the implication, sages follow the way of enlightenment because they already are in accordance or conform with their Buddha nature. Okay, sages are able okay, to rid the three poisons, right? That's the good reckoning part. The four improper speeches, that's the good words. And the three evil deeds, that's the good traveling or good conduct, actions. And manifest their benevolent thoughts, words, and actions, that's called following enlightenment or being in accordance with their Buddha nature. It's very similar to the phrase, to be in accordance with our true nature, is called the Tao. That's Doctrine of Me, okay, chapter 1, first verse, okay? Similar, okay, it's parallel, okay? All right, now comes, are we in the conclusion? Yes, now it comes to the conclusion. Therefore, the good person, okay, almost there. Therefore, the good person is the teacher of the bad person. That's interesting, yeah, makes sense. Okay, all right, so 善人, right? It just means good. They're good. Good people. People who are skillful. You can say. Okay. All right. Okay. So the basic meaning of the phrase is the good person is skillful with the five goodnesses. What are the five goodnesses? The first five lines of the section 1. What? Good actions, right? Good traveling, good action, good words or good speech, good reckoning, good closure, and good not. Okay, all right. Okay, 不善 just means bad, okay, or evil. Okay, basic meaning of this second phrase, okay, or the teacher of the bad person is the good person serves as the teacher of the bad person. Okay, okay, that should be pretty obvious. Okay, pretty straightforward. For additional understanding, the basic idea is to model excellence, the skills of the Tao that one person has mastered, another person can also master. So we can emulate it, okay? We can follow, okay, in their footsteps. Deeper understanding. Just like sages, good persons are masters of performing their minds, words, and thoughts according to the way of enlightenment, right? Okay, the higher understanding is good persons are the teachers of those who are not on the path of enlightenment. That is the bad person. So the good persons are the role models for those who are not on the path of enlightenment. So the key point is good persons are the teachers of bad people because they are already in accordance with their Buddha nature and the Tao. Okay, so that's what this phrase, these two phrases mean. Then next, the bad person is the resource, of the good person. Okay, so that's looking at from the other perspective. Okay, so the basic meaning is we don't just learn from the good people. We also learn plenty from those who are not as good. Okay, all right. Okay, not good. All right. We also learn from those. So further understanding is through observation, we can see how bad people make poor decisions and create problems for themselves and everyone around them. So we can learn from this and avoid the same mistakes. Okay. So this word means it just means capital means resources. Okay, it can mean that. It can mean money too. But okay, but here's the understanding. How are people bad? Okay, why are they people, or how are they not so? Because what? They're not so great with the 5 goodnesses, right? In the beginning of the chapter. Bad actions, such as craving attention. Remember? Okay. Bad words in the form of the foreign proper speeches, such as blaming others. Okay. Bad reckoning, calculating and scheming, such as always trying to get even or going after people who owe them. Keeping score. Bad closure. Okay. Poor at relationships with others, group level, or what's that? Bad knots, right? Not a good knot. Unable to forge a long-term connection with anyone on a personal level. Okay, so that's why bad people are bad, or people, do bad things, or not good at doing things. Okay, it's because they don't have those 5 goodnesses. Okay, all right. So deep understanding. If there are no bad people, then there's no one to transform, right? Right. That would be paradise on earth, which is fantastic, but we know we're far from that, right? So obviously, okay, so that's one way to look at it. Another higher understanding is without any bad people, there's no way to accumulate virtuous merits also, right? Because there's nobody in need of guidance or help, etc., then how can one do virtuous deeds? By definition, you don't, right? There's none, right? There's no opportunity, okay? All right. So the implication is by not abandoning bad people, we can guide them not to do bad things. So the suffering can be reduced. That is compassion, okay? Okay. Now, this is external. There's an internal part of not abandoning bad people, which is we cannot ignore our bad thoughts, right? Bad thoughts, bad words, or bad actions. Okay, so that's more internal or personal. Okay, so the key point: bad people are the resources of good people because they give us the opportunity to transfer them, so we can perform merits and establish virtues. Okay, all right. Okay, so now comes to the last sentence. Okay. Okay. Those who do not value their teachers and do not love their resources, okay, although intelligent, they are greatly confused. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's skip the definition. Okay. The basic meaning. All right. Usually, people have no trouble respecting and valuing those teachers at a higher level. In other words, okay, as cultivators, we have people above us and people below us, right? People who have been cultivating longer than we have, know a lot more, have more wisdom, etc., etc. And then there are people who have just started, who are below us, who have less experience, less knowledge, etc., etc. So generally, for those people above us, right, who've been, cultivating longer than we have, we tend to respect them, right? Or most of us anyway, okay, and value them, right? Value them for their experience, knowledge, guidance, etc. What we fail, though, is in regarding those at a lower level. Sometimes we tend to scorn or look down, on those people who are below us. Okay, so that's a problem. Okay, So so that's the basic meaning of what this phrase means. Okay, you can say that. Okay, but just let's see, where are we? Okay, another meaning is we may think we are the teachers when in fact we are the resources. Okay, so all right. So further understanding, why should we love those who are unskillful? Because what? We can learn from the mistakes of others. We benefit by not having to repeat the same mistakes. That's one. Two, when there's an opportunity to guide them back to the right path, right? That's why we should love those with them. Three, okay. We should not forget that we are previously bad, or we were previously bad and unskillful. Okay, we shouldn't forget that, right? And we cannot be so presumptuous to think that we're all good because we may still be the resource. We're not perfect. We still have certain shortcomings, right? No matter how, how long we've cultivated, right? So we still are the resources of the good teachers, okay, or of the teachers, okay? So higher understanding, by not valuing our teachers or not to emulate the skillful and not loving our resources, not being humble, we are still confused, even though we may be intelligent and knowledgeable. Implication, if the bad people do not value those teachers and good people do not value the resources, so that's the relationship, right? Between, the good, the people who are trying to learn from the teachers, and also the good people who ignore or to abandon the bad people, right? The resources. Although you may be intelligent, okay, or knowledgeable, you are still confused, okay? So that's not the enlightened way, okay? All right, okay. Okay, so key point, by not manifesting what we are supposed to do, which is to follow the path of enlightenment, we are already confused about our direction in life because we respect the good person, but disdain the bad person, okay? So we have to be careful, right? Now, one aspect of this is called tolerance or nurturing of the less skillful, or we say the bad people. We'll go a little bit more detail in next chapter, chapter 28, that will talk about that, all right? At least a part of that, okay? All right, so now this is the conclusion, the last phrase. This, if we could do these, right? If we could do all these, the bad, knowing the good person is the teacher or the bad person is the resource of the good person, and to value the teachers, okay, and not be confused. This is called the essential wonder. Okay, miao, last word, means it has a lot of meaning too. Okay, it could mean it's adjective, excellent, fine, wonderful, marvelous, subtle, mysterious. It also could be a noun, right? It could be marvel or wonder. Okay? Okay, so the basic phrase meaning is this. In the Tao, we advocate respect for the teacher, that is the good person, and nurture for the resource, the bad person. Okay, that's compassion right there. Okay, that's okay. Additional understanding. No matter where we are in the journey of life, there are those who are ahead of us and those who are behind us. Right? That's a fact, a reality. Okay. Right? So deeper understanding. We teachers and resources are all in the same boat. We are all in this journey of life together. Okay. Right. So we're not alone in our journey of life. Okay. Higher understanding. We follow those who are ahead of us. That's the Xi mean. While beckoning to those and guiding those who are behind. That's the nurturing part. Okay. Okay. All right. So the implication. The essential wonder is the realization that we are both the resources and the teachers at the same time, depending on where we are on the journey of life with respect to others. Okay. And then ultimately, conclusion is this. Ultimately, we are all in it together. All of us are travel companions on this journey of life. The way we help and cherish one another, the way that others have helped us, and the way we, in turn, help other people. That is the essential wonder of existence, which is the essential key of following the path of enlightenment. Okay, all right, that's the finish. Okay, I'd like to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of masters and mercy and compassion of the grand predecessor, transmitters, and everybody else. So if I have said things that are wrong, I ask for the Buddha's and Lao's forgiveness. Thank you.